My name is Hannah. I'm sitting in the law office of Thompson and Partners, waiting for my parents to arrive. The room is silent, save for the soft patter of rain against the window. I look down at the folder in front of me, containing the evidence of their betrayal, and a wave of calm washes over me. It's hard to believe that just a few months ago, my life was completely different. I grew up in a small town in Vermont, the daughter of a wealthy family. My father, Henry, was a successful businessman, and my mother, Elizabeth, was a socialite. They had high expectations for me and my sister, Lily. Lily was the perfect daughter, beautiful, talented, and charming. She was the apple of my parents' eye, and they doted on her. I, on the other hand, was the quiet, studious one. I spent most of my time in the library, reading books and learning about the world. As I got older, I realized that my parents' love was conditional. They only cared about me as long as I was useful to them. I was expected to work hard at school, get good grades, and follow their rules. If I didn't, I was punished. I was never allowed to have any fun or make my own decisions. I was just a pawn in their game. Despite their treatment, I still loved my parents. I wanted to make them proud, and I thought that if I worked hard enough, they would finally see me for who I was. So, I worked my butt off. I got straight A's in school, participated in every extracurricular activity, and even started my own business. But no matter how hard I tried, it was never enough. My parents always found something to criticize me for. One day, when I was 25, I discovered a secret that changed everything. I was going through some old files in my parents' office when I came across a document that shocked me. It was a trust fund that my grandmother had set up for me when I was a child. The fund was worth $150,000, and it was supposed to be used for my education and future. But when I looked at the account balance, I was horrified to see that it was empty. I confronted my parents about the missing money, and they tried to brush it off as a misunderstanding. But I knew better. I could tell from their faces that they were lying. They had stolen my inheritance, and they had used it to fund Lily's lavish lifestyle. I was devastated. I couldn't believe that my own parents would do something like this to me. I felt betrayed, angry, and hurt. I decided that I couldn't stay in that house any longer. I packed my bags and moved out, vowing never to speak to my parents again. I moved to a small apartment in the city and started a new life. I got a job at a local nursery, where I worked hard and learned everything I could about plants. I also met a wonderful man named Tom, who helped me heal from the pain of my past. But just when I thought my life was finally starting to turn around, my parents found me. They showed up at my apartment one day, begging me to come back home. They said that they were sorry for what they had done, and they promised to make things right. I was hesitant at first. I didn't trust them, and I didn't want to go back to that toxic environment. But I also missed my family, and I wanted to believe that they had changed. So, I decided to give them a second chance. I moved back home, and things seemed to be going well at first. My parents were more attentive and loving, and they even apologized for their past mistakes. But it didn't take long for things to go wrong again. My parents started to treat me the same way they always had, and they continued to favor Lily over me. One day, I came home from work to find that my parents had sold my car. They said that they needed the money to pay for Lily's acting lessons. I was furious. I couldn't believe that they would do something like this to me again. I confronted them, and they got defensive. They said that I was being selfish and ungrateful, and that I should be happy that they were doing so much for Lily. That was the last straw. I realized that my parents would never change. They were never going to treat me the way I deserved to be treated. So, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I hired a lawyer, and we started to investigate my parents' finances. We discovered that they had been embezzling money from the family business for years. They had also forged my signature on several documents, including the trust fund withdrawal slips. With the evidence in hand, I decided to take my parents to court. I wanted them to be held accountable for their actions, and I wanted my inheritance back. The trial was long and difficult, but in the end, justice was served. My parents were found guilty of embezzlement and forgery, and they were sentenced to prison. I finally got my inheritance back, and I used it to start my own business. I opened a small nursery in the city, where I grow and sell plants. It's a lot of hard work, but I love it. I'm finally doing something that I'm passionate about, and I'm making a living doing it. Looking back on my life, I realize that everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't gone through all of that pain and suffering, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I've learned to be strong, independent, and resilient. I've also learned to trust my instincts and to never let anyone take advantage of me. I know that my parents will always be a part of my life, but I've decided to forgive them. I don't want to carry around the anger and resentment anymore. I want to move on and focus on the future. So, if you're going through a difficult time in your life, remember that you're not alone. There are people who care about you, and there is always hope. Don't give up on your dreams, and don't let anyone stand in your way. You have the power to create the life that you want, and I believe in you.